Good morning and welcome to the Friday visit here. Let me get my setup going here. I hope you're hearing me okay. Tomorrow is quite an event is being planned. As a matter of fact, many events are being planned all over the world. And very seldom uh, do we have the the prospect of a mobilization of millions of people, not only in the United States, but all over the world, coming together to demonstrate uh, what is being called No Kings Rally. Okay. Um, and it could just as easily be uh, called No Dictators. Okay, because usually kings nowadays are largely ceremonial, but dictators are quite in your face real. And there's a tendency around the world to fall back into the whole dynamics that plunged the world into World War II many years ago, uh, just a few years before I was born. But anyway, no matter what your opinion is on the subject, whether these people are being misguided or if it's absolutely needed or if it's not a militant enough response, whatever your opinions are, we have to admit that it is a remarkable uh, uh, worldwide, a universal event. And we'll be reading about it in the news and stuff for days to come. And I thought it would be, well, I thought nothing. I thought I want to check with the I Ching and see what the consequences of the worldwide No Kings demonstration will be. Now, that's a pretty vague, what are the consequences, you know? But over the years, I've kind of trusted the I Ching to ferret out uh, my my questions, the real right meat of my questions, whether I clumsily phrase the question or not. It ferrets out what I really want to find out and throws it back into my face with often with uh, no concern of my feelings. Tarot readings. Tarot is officially it's the book of Thoth, and Thoth is mercurial. So we often look at the tarot as being a mercurial oracle. The god Mercury is the god of communications and writing and things like that. But it's also the god of liars. So the tarot often, if you don't watch it, if you don't watch yourself, the tarot can lie to you in a divination, can lie to you by telling you the truth and tell you the truth by lying to you, depending upon how unattached you or attached you are to the question. Now, I consult the I Ching through various methods. For years, I used only the Yarrow stock method, which I think was a wonderful thing for me to do for the first 10 or 15 years. I consulted the I Ching because it was like this is the proper way to approach the oracle. But after a while, I felt comfortable enough with my embassy to the throne room of the I Ching that I could consult the I Ching more informally by throwing coins or the stick method, the Crowley stick method. And just in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, I've tried various online I Ching services, I guess, and some of them the services were mostly for me to randomly generate the 6 lines of the hexagram along with their moving line. So it was like almost like a slot machine, the let it go where it's going to go. Okay, I'll ask my question and I'll pull the slot machine and get my answer. And so I was using the online ones to do that. And then I would look it up in my own favorite I Ching texts. And that worked okay too, especially when I'm like sitting in a parking lot or riding in a car with somebody. I throw the I Ching conveniently, sort of electronically. But I've run across one just in the last couple of years called the I Ching with Clarity. It's called, and I really am kind of impressed with that one because it gives me all the information I need to know about the lines. It has the capability of having all 6 moving lines or no moving lines or anything in between. It's really a good random generator. And the commentaries that it uses, the descriptive commentaries of the hexagrams, the moving lines, the pairing, and things like that. Because the I Ching is more than a coin flip thing. Okay. There's 64 hexagrams, and you get one hexagram, okay, and it may have some lines in it that are in the process of turning into their opposites. And so when they turn into their opposites, they create another hexagram. So there's 3 kind of commentaries. Got the hexagram and then little specific moving line commentaries, and then it moves to another one. But the initial one is also part of a sequence. There's a hexagram that comes right before it and a hexagram that comes right after it, notwithstanding the moving lines, okay? And that also gives you a sense of movement. The I Ching is called the Book of Changes because we get our answer by observing what is in motion at the moment. And then we ourselves decide, well, we ourselves decide the predictive nature of it, okay? So, that being said, I use the I Ching with Clarity website, okay? And I said, simply, tell me the consequences of the worldwide No Kings demonstration. Now, I know that's wide open. Well, the consequences, what, 50 years later, 100 years later, tomorrow? But I just wanted to see what the I Ching would say. So here's what it said. And I randomly generated the thing. And it was hexagram 13 with the moving line in the first place or the bottom place. You see the little check marks I put there just to better show me the moving line. And in the 5th and 6th, or the top 2, they changed. So they changed into their opposite, and they changed into hexagram 62. Okay. And here is what I Ching with clarity had. Hexagram 13, that's the first one. What are the consequences of the worldwide No Kings demonstration? People in harmony. I love this shit. Oracle. People in harmony in the wilds. Creating success. Fruitful to cross the great river. A noble one's constancy bears fruit. Now that's kind of the classic, the classic answer in the Wilhelm Baines. The people in harmony is called fellowship with men. Fellowship with men in the open, success. It furthers one to cross the great water. Perseverance of the superior man furthers. People create harmony with one another, where they are of like mind and find a common cause. They come out from the walls of their villages to forge alliances in the wild country. That is, they seek out common ground where they can meet, beyond the familiar boundaries that usually define the limits of people, quote, people like us. This means radically expanding the whole idea of who we are. Such fellowship is usually created between people, but it can also take place within an individual. For instance, between inner selves, or between apparently unrelated traditions and ways of knowing. There is harmony when these are brought together in inner conversation to create strong alliances. You see why I like this thing. There is strength and energy in alliance. People in harmony can commit themselves further, take great risks. They can cross the river and enter in new territories. Once there is agreement, it is worthwhile to follow the vision tenaciously with the constancy of a noble one. And that's that superior man that they're talking about. And often the classic I Ching uses that term, the superior man does this. And it's not always, as a matter of fact, my experience, it's seldom talking about a specific leader. Okay, it's talking about, hey, when I'm acting like I got my shit together, this is how I act. Okay, every hexagram 13 also has an image. And it says, heaven joins with fire. People in harmony. A noble one sorts the clans and differentiates between things. Okay, so that hexagram 13 was preceded by hexagram 12 and followed by hexagram 14. So those are called the pairs. Okay, so that's the movement. This fellowship with men has come out of another hexagram and is moving into another. So here's the pairs. People in harmony form a pair with hexagram 14, great possessions. Great possessions means crowds. People in harmony means connecting. On June 23rd, I think 1967, there was a gathering together in front of the Century Plaza Hotel in Los Angeles, where President Johnson, who had just escalated the Vietnam War, was going to speak. There was what has been described universally, not as a violent demonstration, but a police riot. The police were ordered not to let the people to back out, and another line of police pushed them forward and told them to back up. And the ones in the front and the ones in the back sandwiched the unarmed protesters in between and clubbed some of them to death. It was very, very bloody. My brother was bloodied, broke his glasses, broke his nose, and he met people that gave him a ride home. People that changed our lives forever. We connected with people. Those same people we ended up living with, okay, and moving to Oregon with, okay. People in harmony. Okay, hexagram 12 that it came out of was called blocked. Blocked. Block goes into people in harmony. Blocked. People in harmony. 12, 13. People in harmony follows from hexagram 12 blocked. Things cannot end with blockage. And so people in harmony follow. People in harmony forms pairs with hexagram 14. Here's the one that follows, which is called great possessions. Great possessions means crowds. People in harmony means connecting. Remember, the question is, tell me the consequences of the worldwide No Kings demonstration. Okay, there's moving lines, and it changes. Moving line was the bottom one, first of all. People in harmony at the gate. No mistake. Then line 5, second from the top, moves to. People in harmony first cry out and weep, and then they laugh. Great leaders can bring them together. And line 6, the top one. People in harmony at the outskirts altar. At the outskirts altar, not change altar. Altar, like a temple altar. People in harmony at the outskirts altar. No regrets. Now that changes the hexagram altogether to hexagram 32. Small exceeding. Small exceeding. Creating success. Constancy bears fruit. Allows small works. Does not allow great works. A bird in flight leaves its call. Going higher is not fitting. Coming down is fitting. Great good fortune. Now, this great good fortune is like promising success as long as you keep your expectations low and sequential. Exceeding or going past is a transition, the moment when you step over a line. And small exceeding means making this crossing in small ways, going beyond boundaries and structures, but paying close attention to them, always responding and adjusting like a humble traveler crossing over great mountains. This is a creative way to engage the world, no matter how small you feel. You're in no position to realize great things at once, but it is worthwhile to do the smaller things that are within your capacity, taking small steps with consistent purposes. So we're seeing that the great movement, the fellowship, was an awesome success. But the real success is what it does to the individual. And after the celebratory nature of the gathering together with people, now it's time to you to do things one step at a time, quietly and understated, as best you can. And if that's the case, the hexagram promises success. Not every hexagram does that. For your own unique call to be heard, you need to fly closer to the ground and pay attention to details, creating a more sensitive connection with your world. When you come down to earth in this way, scaling down your aspirations, crossing over in small ways and doing small things, then you will enjoy good fortune. And the image of that hexagram is, above the mountain is thunder, small exceeding. A noble one in action exceeds in respect, in loss exceeds in mourning, in spending exceeds in economy. And the sequence is small exceeding follows from hexagram 61, inner truth. Oh, gee. So that hexagram, came out of 61 called inner truth. To have trust naturally means acting on it, and so small exceedings follows. That inner truth, hexagram 61, that it goes into is, look, if you're true to yourself, it beams out of every pore in your... Start off in every situation by being true to yourself, and it shows, and it affects those around you, like a good method actor that has a truth going on inside them at all times. So no matter what they do in the play or the movie or the scene, no matter what they do, everyone goes, wow, he ate that pork chop so well, or whatever, That's because something true was going on inside that actor, and you could see that generic truth beam out of that, and then you as the audience interpreted that truth in the context of the play, and that's exactly what the inner truth things that I Ching says, when you're true to yourself, it moves even pigs and fishes. And I tell you, part of the things that people are gathering together tomorrow is to move pigs and fishes. Not that I'm against pigs and fishes, but in that context, it means it's a derogatory, stupid, immovable, stubborn, ignorant, gross. Anyway, I thought I'd check with the I Ching of Milo to see what it says. And then I'll leave you. So first of all was hexagram 13. I Ching of Milo said, fellowship with men, a convention, a conference, a movement, orderliness within diversity. That Milo was quite the sage. And the moving line is, be of one accord and don't make any secret deals. And in the fifth place, old adversaries are true friends at heart. And at the top, pragmatic fellowship, not warm and fuzzy, and not everyone is included. Okay, and that goes to 62. Hexagram 62. Preponderance of the small. Keep your expectations low. Don't expect big things to come out of this. Concentrate on the little stuff. Keep it simple and unpretentious. Do the correct thing in the correct way at the correct time. And for those of you who might be interested, preponderance of the small there is the same as the knight or king of discs in the tarot. What that means, maybe you know. I don't at the moment. I'll have to dig into that. Anyway, that's it for today. If you have an event going on in your community that you have transportation to and can get to, whether you have a sign or not, whether you know others that you're going with or not. If you're capable, your body, your voice is important. Gather together, fellowship of men, then take that and those connections home with you. Until tomorrow, and I will understand if you're not here to take to see tomorrow's show live. You can catch it later in the day and much later in the day on YouTube. I won't feel bad if you're out there making fellowship with men, gathering together. Okay. And of course, the I Ching with clarity calls it people in harmony. Tune up your voice. Until then, continue to be good to yourself. Be good to others. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.